All right. So welcome again, and thank you for attending tonight's King County, Lake Hills, and Northwest Lake Sammamish Sewer Upgrade Neighborhood Meeting. My name is Lauren Wheeler, and I'm a consultant on the Community Relations team for this project. I will be facilitating most of tonight. This meeting is available in American Sign Language, Arabic, Hindi, Cantonese, Mandarin, Russian, and Spanish. This means we'll be presenting a little slower to leave time for interpretation. If you haven't done so already, please sign in to today's meeting using the link above, or it's probably placed in the chat. Yes, should be placed in the chat now. Before we get started, I'm going to go over some of the Zoom features. You're probably familiar with them, but this is just a friendly reminder. Please share your questions and comments using the Q&A tool located in the center menu. We'll compile questions as they come in, and then we will address those questions and comments at the end of the presentation. You'll also see closed captioning in English throughout the meeting. You can click on the closed captioning at the bottom of your screen to turn it on. For closed caption access in Arabic, Hindi, Simplified Chinese, Traditional Chinese, Russian, and Spanish, please click on the link of your choice in the chat, and a new browser will open up for that language. The meeting tonight is being recorded, and a copy of the recording will be available on King County's project website in the coming weeks. If you have any questions about the Zoom features throughout the meeting, please enter them into the Q&A chat, and we've got a team available to help you. We are here tonight to talk about a large sewer upgrade project that could impact your daily routine during construction. The City of Redmond is reviewing King County's latest designs as they consider the county's permit application. To kick things off, the City of Redmond will start an overview of their permitting process. Next, King County staff will provide a presentation highlighting a brief overview of this project. We'll share the benefits of this work, the project timeline, and what's changed in our project design since our last neighborhood meeting in 2020. We'll touch on the next steps, and then we'll also share information of how you can stay informed. After the presentation ends, we're going to take a 5-minute break before we transition into a live Q&A session. King County's project team and the City of Redmond project staff are panelists tonight, and they will respond to those questions. I will now hand it over to Scott Reynolds with the City of Redmond. Scott?
Thank you, Lauren. Let's go through the Type 3 permit process. This process may appear to be overwhelming, but let's break it down together. There are 3 combined applications submitted for review to the City of Redmond: a conditional use permit, the shoreline substantial development permit, and site plan entitlements. The permit review began when King County formally submitted the application to the City of Redmond. Following the application submittal, a notice of application was mailed out to all property owners within 500 feet of the project, as well as yellow boards being installed along the project. Where we are currently at in the process is the neighborhood meeting. Both King County and City of Redmond desire to better understand community concerns, as well as help answer questions from the community. At this time, and following this meeting, additional coordination on community feedback and minimum code compliance will continue between King County and the City of Redmond. Once the underlying application meets minimum code compliance and addressing community feedback, The technical committee, which is made up of the City of Redmond Planning and Public Works Director, will submit a report to the hearing examiner for a public hearing. All parties of record will receive a notice of hearing in conjunction with signs being posted along the project. If you're not a party of record with the City of Redmond, please let me know following the meeting and I can get you added. After the public hearing, the hearing examiner decision will be issued within 10 days and is appealable to Superior Court. Following the hearing examiner's decision, the City of Redmond will file the shoreline permit with the state, which is appealable to the Shoreline Hearing Board. After the 30-day waiting period, post-entitlement review can commence for final engineering review and then construction to follow. If there are any questions about the process, the city is happy to answer them during the Q&A session. With that, I'll turn it back over to Lauren with King County.
Thank you, Scott. Now I would like to introduce you to a few members of our King County Lake Hills Sewer Upgrade project team who will talk about project updates today. Andrea, let's start with you.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Andrea Klingscales, and I recently came on board to this project as the new King County WTD project manager. I'm really looking forward to this project because I love highly complex projects. My job will be to oversee the completion of the project design, acquire necessary permits to complete the work, and then transition the project into construction. And Kelly.
Thanks, Andrea. Hi, my name is Kelly Foley Cruz, and I am with the Community Relations team with King County Wastewater Treatment Division. The county recognizes that construction projects like this one can be disruptive to those who live, work, and play nearby. My job is to share information about the project with you and to work with you to identify ways that we can reduce disruption to your community during construction.
Thank you, Kelly. Okay, well, again, thanks everyone for attending tonight. We really appreciate your collaboration on this project. A good place to start will be just giving a project overview. Maybe some of you on the line attended our last public meeting, and maybe some of you, this is your first foray into the project. So first, I'd like to talk a little bit about the King County Wastewater Treatment Division. So the King County Wastewater Treatment Division operates and maintains the regional wastewater system. Wastewater is the water that you use in your toilet, sink, and bathtub that goes down the drain and into a small side sewer pipe on your property. Your side sewer then connects to a local line that is owned and maintained by the City of Redmond. The city's sewer lines feed into the King County regional lines, which carry sewage to one of our treatment plants. King County right now serves almost 2 million people, 1.9 million people. We operate 5 treatment plants and we maintain nearly 400 miles of pipeline. So treating wastewater is critical because, of course, untreated wastewater can make people sick and it can also harm the Puget Sound waterways. King County systems of plants, pipes, and pumps is essential for protecting the public health and the environment. Next, let's talk about the project objective. So the Lake Hills and Northwest Lake Sammamish Sewer Upgrade Project is an important part of this underground network of pipes. The purpose of this project is to upgrade a portion of the sewer pipe that runs through Redmond and carries sewage to the Brightwater treatment plant in the city of Woodinville. More specifically, we need to upgrade the southern 4.5 miles of the pipe shown on this map because it's both undersized and aging. Parts of the pipe haven't been upgraded since the 1960s. So King County is proactively replacing this pipe to ensure continued and reliable sewer service. If the pipe is not replaced, the sewer pipe is at risk of failing, overflowing, and disrupting your service. When complete, the new pipe will provide sewer service for 50 years or more. So next, let's take a closer look at where the pipe is located. The section of pipe that will be upgraded is shown in blue here on the map. It's located between the View Lake neighborhood, just about at the Bellevue City line, and then all the way up to Northeast 85th Street near Redmond City Hall. The pipe is located under the sections of the Sammamish River Trail. It's also under streets, including Westlake Sammamish Parkway, and also under private property. More on our timeline. So last summer, we let the community know that construction would be delayed until at least 2022 due to delays in the permitting process. Coordination with permitting agencies is necessary to make sure we install the new pipe in the safest way possible, that we also limit impacts and maximize improvements for people and the environment. The orange line and yellow star on the slide shown here shows that we're currently in the permitting process. So now we have a better estimate for construction, and we expect work to begin actually in 2024. We want to take a moment to recognize that there have been several construction delays on this project, and that we do greatly appreciate your continued patience. With a major infrastructure project like this, construction schedules are always estimates and will shift over the course of a project. We expect construction to take about 3 years. The whole alignment won't be under construction all at once. We will complete the project in pieces or phases, likely several crews working simultaneously. Once we hire a contractor in 2023, we will share more detailed information about when the contractor expects to build each part of the sewer. A bit about construction. So for most of the alignment, we'll be using an open trench construction method. That means that we will dig down from the surface anywhere from 5 to 25 feet underground to place the pipe. However, there are a few short segments where we will be using trenchless construction. We can't use trenchless technology for the full alignment due to soil conditions and pipe depth, but we've prioritized this method in specific segments where we need to limit our environmental impacts, such as when we're going under the Sammamish River just north of Leary Way. So this will be a major construction project. Typical work hours for construction in Redmond are 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, and 9 to 6 on Saturdays. Our work hours will ultimately be directed by the city of Redmond. There are segments of the project where the city has directed us to limit work hours. For example, we will have restricted work hours in certain sections of West Lake Sammamish Parkway, where we may not work during the morning and or afternoon commute hours. We recognize that this construction project will cause disruption to those who live, work, and play in Redmond and nearby. And we want to reiterate our commitment to working with you throughout the life of this project to minimize community impacts. Our outreach efforts to date include the following. We've had 10 community meetings, 9 community events, 22 community briefings, 50 project updates and fieldwork notices, and over 1,000 conversations with community members. During final design, the phase that we are currently in, our goal is to share project progress regularly and incorporate your feedback into our design wherever possible. During construction, our goal is to let you know about upcoming activities to avoid surprises and problem solve as needed. We're looking forward to continuing the conversation with you during tonight's meeting. With that, I'm going to hand it off to Kelly Foley-Cruz to share the latest updates on our project design. Kelly.
Great, thank you, Andrea. King County submitted project designs to the City of Redmond for review in late 2019. Some of you may have participated in a neighborhood meeting in early 2020, and that was part of the city's permitting process. After that meeting, the City of Redmond provided review of the county's project plans. Since then, King County has been working to update the project plans based on the feedback we received from the city. We resubmitted the project designs for the city's review in July of 2021. Tonight's meeting is part of that resubmittal process. Some of the changes that we've made this past year include minor adjustments to the sewer route based on feedback from the City of Redmond. The first route change is at the Northeast 85th Street Bridge. King County had initially planned to stop construction on the south side of the bridge. The city has asked that King County extend the project to the north side of the bridge, where a City of Redmond sewer pipe connects to the existing King County pipe. Please keep in mind that we're not sure yet if work under the bridge will require any road closures on Northeast 85th Street. The second location where we've adjusted our route is on 177th Avenue Northeast between Westlake Sammamish Parkway and Northeast 33rd Place. In this location, we've shifted our sewer alignment from the west side of the road to the east side of the road. And that shift was made to consolidate existing utilities under the road. Since 2020, we've also refined our estimates on tree removal and replacement. Many plants and trees have grown up around the sewer pipe since it was installed 50 years ago. While the design team works to protect sensitive environments and trees, impacts can't always be avoided. Our crews will need a space approximately 30 to 45 feet wide along the entire sewer route to safely install the new pipe. Plants and trees will need to be removed within this space. In total, we expect to remove approximately 680 trees. That includes 548 trees within the City of Redmond. Replanting requirements are set by permitting agencies. For trees in the City of Redmond's jurisdiction, we will replant at least one tree for every significant tree removed. For trees that are removed and are over 30 inches in diameter, 3 new trees will be planted. So in total, we expect to replant 1,367 trees. 338 of those trees will be planted along the sewer route. You'll notice that that number is less than the number being removed from the route. And that is because having tree roots too close to the pipe can cause service issues for our customers. An additional 1,251 trees will be planted in an offsite mitigation tree bank. And I'd like to reiterate that these numbers are under discussion with the City of Redmond and could still change. Here are 3 photos that show an example of tree removal and replacement on another King County project. As you can see in the photo on the bottom left, all vegetation within the working limits was cleared. After construction, we replanted native trees and shrubs. The picture labeled after construction on the right shows approximately 1 year of growth. Now I want to talk a little bit about the Sammamish River Trail. As Andrea explained, the existing sewer pipe is located under or very close to the Sammamish River Trail between Northeast 85th Street and Northeast 51st Street. In this picture, you can even see one of our maintenance holes on the trail. During construction, county crews will have to close the trail to dig under it. These trail closures will be pretty extensive. Due to limited access points, we'll need to close the trail between access points and detour folks off the site onto nearby sidewalks, paths, and bike lanes. We've been discussing preliminary detour routes with community members since 2018, and we've made several adjustments based on your input and to ensure your safety during construction. You may recall that our initial plans included a long bicycle and pedestrian detour for the closure between Leary and Marymore Way. The purpose of this detour was to avoid closing a lane of the very busy Westlake Sammamish Parkway to keep cars and buses moving during construction. Detour options in this area are extremely limited due to SR 520 and Marymore Park. However, we heard from many of you that the Sammamish River Trail is also very busy, and this detour was far too long for trail users. Over the past year, our design team went back to the drawing board with the City of Redmond and Washington State Department of Transportation, who oversees permitting for traffic revisions impacting SR 520, to problem solve this issue. Our current plan is to close one northbound lane of Westlake Sammamish Parkway to create a shared use path for bicyclists and pedestrians. By closing the lane, we can fit a 10.5-foot wide path, and that path would extend from Marymore Way to the north side of SR 520. For the 0.2 miles between SR 520 and Leary Way, pedestrians will be diverted back onto the existing sidewalk. Southbound bicyclists will be asked to dismount and walk their bikes on the sidewalk as well to ensure safety for everyone in that constrained space. We estimate that walk to be about 4 minutes long. Northbound bicyclists will have the option of using the existing bike lane on Westlake Sammamish Parkway or dismounting and walking on the sidewalk. This detour route is expected to be in place for about 18 months. And while we will recommend adjusting traffic signals to limit disruption to vehicle traffic, there will likely be lengthy backups on Westlake Sammamish Parkway and potentially on the eastbound SR 520 off-ramp while this detour is in place. We want to acknowledge that navigating construction is challenging, and we know that there's already been a lot of construction activity in your community. Our number one goal is always to keep people safe, and we also want to keep things moving as efficiently as possible. So we look forward to your continued feedback and collaboration on this detour. As a reminder, we will fully restore the trail after construction. That will include relocating as many maintenance holes off of the trail as possible, replanting trees and shrubs, repaving affected areas of the trail to at least the current footprint of the trail, and partnering with King County Parks to widen the trail between Northeast 85th Street and Leary Way. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about traffic impacts. Much of the existing sewer pipe is located under roads, including Westlake Sammamish Parkway, 177th Avenue Northeast, 179th Avenue Northeast, Northeast 24th Street, and 180th Avenue Northeast. When our work is underway, you can expect lane closures, detours, delays, and increased congestion. Over the last year, we've developed preliminary plans for managing traffic. And while these plans are not final until construction starts, we want to share them with you as we know that they are a topic of great community interest. Over the next several slides, I'll walk through these plans. Please keep in mind, again, that these are preliminary. All closures and detours, as well as durations, will require approval from the Redmond City Council. The durations I will provide are very rough estimates and may change as a result of permit requirements, construction methods, and site conditions. And finally, that emergency and local access will be maintained at all times. So as I mentioned previously, community members can expect a lane closure of northbound Westlake Sammamish Parkway while the Sammamish River Trail is closed between Leary Way and Marymore Way. And again, that closure is expected to be in place for approximately 18 months. To the south, when crews are working between Northeast 51st Street and Bell Red Road, Westlake Sammamish Parkway will be narrowed to make space for our construction trench and equipment. We expect that that work will take approximately 3 months to complete. During that work, we will maintain at least one lane of traffic in each direction of this segment. However, bike lanes will be closed and bikes will be asked to merge with traffic. We will require lower vehicle speeds during this time for bicycle safety. When we construct the sewer on Westlake Sammamish Parkway between Bell Red Road and 172nd Avenue Northeast, we will narrow the road to one lane for northbound vehicle and bicycle traffic only. Southbound vehicles and bicycles will detour around the closure as shown here in orange via Bell Red Road, Northeast 40th Street, and 172nd Avenue Northeast. Separately from sewer construction, we will also be building a new culvert in this section of Westlake Sammamish Parkway that will require a full road closure. When that occurs, all through traffic will be detoured around using the detour shown here in orange. We expect that sewer and culvert construction will take approximately 5 months to complete. I'd like to take a minute to talk a bit more about the culvert. A culvert is a tunnel that allows water to flow under a roadway. King County must replace the culvert under Westlake Sammamish Parkway at Country Creek in order to install our new sewer pipe. The existing culvert is located too high above the creek surface to allow fish to pass through it. By replacing it, we are removing a fish barrier and improving habitat potential. The new culvert will be fish passable. And this work is being done in partnership with the city of Redmond. Now I'd like to take a moment to show you an example of what culvert construction looks like to give you an idea of what to expect.
Just a warning, there is no sound on this video. It'll last about a minute.
Over the last year, King County and the city of Redmond have coordinated on the final roadway restoration across the top of the culvert on Westlake Sammamish Parkway. We will restore the road to its existing configuration, which includes a 2-lane road with bike lanes and curbs on both sides. However, we will be making a change on the north side where we will add a planter strip and an adjacent 12-foot wide permanent shared use path. These restoration plans line up with the city's future master plan along Westlake Sammamish Parkway. When work occurs along Westlake Sammamish Parkway in the future to improve the roadway, this area will not need to be impacted again. On Westlake Sammamish Parkway, between 172nd Avenue Northeast and Northeast 36th Street, we will need to install our pipe in the center of the road. To complete this work, we will need to close the road to through traffic during work hours. The closure will be done in 2 phases. The first phase will be between 172nd Avenue Northeast and Northeast 40th Street. Lauren, could you hit the next slide, please? Thank you. Traffic will detour around the closure as shown here via 172nd and Northeast 40th. We expect this work will take about 2 months to complete. The second phase is also expected to take about 2 months to complete. During the second phase, Westlake Sammamish Parkway will be closed between Northeast 40th and Northeast 36th Streets. Traffic will detour around, as shown here in orange, via Northeast 40th, 172nd, and Northeast 36th. For each of these phases, 1 lane of traffic in each direction will be restored during nights and weekends when our work is not occurring. Bikes will be asked to merge with traffic, and again, we will lower speeds to ensure bicycle safety. As you can see from the map here, we will need to work in front of Idlewood Park and the overflow lot to the park on 177th Avenue Northeast. We understand that this is a very busy park, so work will not occur in front of either parking lot entrance during the busy summer months from Memorial Day to Labor Day. For the remainder of the year, we will require our contractor to keep one parking lot entrance open at all times. Now I want to take a closer look at 177th Avenue Northeast. The work zone is shown here in yellow. When we are working on this road, we will need to close one lane of the road. And we recognize that this is the only entrance to this neighborhood. To maintain access, we will keep one lane open with flaggers to move traffic in both directions. And we expect this work to take approximately 6 months to complete. From 177th, our sewer pipe runs primarily under private property before turning onto 180th Avenue Northeast near Audubon Elementary School. Under 180th, we need to replace an aging City of Redmond water line before we can work on our sewer pipe. And that is because the water pipe could be damaged by our construction. As a result, work in this segment will take longer. So on 180th, our contractor is likely to use a rolling full street closure to speed up this work. The first phase would likely be in front of the entrances to Audubon Elementary School, as shown here in yellow. Work in front of the entrances will be limited to times when school is not in session. Traffic would be detoured around the closure using Westlake Sammamish Parkway and Northeast 24th Street. And we expect that this phase of work would take approximately 3 months to complete. The second phase would be along 180th between Northeast 29th and Northeast 25th Streets. Again, traffic would be detoured around the closure using Westlake Sammamish Parkway and Northeast 24th Street. And we expect that this phase would take approximately 3 months to complete. The last phase of work on 180th would be between Northeast 25th and Northeast 24th Streets. Traffic would be detoured via Northeast 28th Street, 181st Avenue Northeast, and 182nd Avenue Northeast. And we expect that this phase would take about 2 months. A section of our pipe is also located under Northeast 24th Street. To complete this work, we will need to use a full road closure. Traffic will be detoured around using Bellred Road, Northeast 40th Street, and Westlake Sammamish Parkway. Westbound traffic could also use 180th Avenue Northeast to bypass the closure. Outside of working hours, we expect to restore one lane of traffic in each direction. And we expect that this work would take about 3 months. Finally, there will be lane closures on short segments of 179th Avenue Northeast and 177th Avenue Northeast, south of 24th Street. In those locations, there will be short local detours as shown here in orange. When our work is done in the street, we will repair impacted areas of pavement, sidewalks, curbs, and planter strips. Right now, we estimate that we will install 24 new curb ramps at 11 locations along the project route. Something to keep in mind about road restoration is that there is often a delay between when construction and restoration occurs. Typically, contractors wait until the end of projects to restore roads because they need to keep driving heavy construction equipment over those roads, and that equipment can damage newly restored roads. Finally, I just want to reiterate again that the closures, detours, and durations shown here are preliminary and will need to be reviewed and approved by the Redmond City Council. Now I'd like to briefly touch on next steps for this project. As Andrea mentioned previously, we anticipate starting construction in 2024. We expect to hire a contractor in 2023. And between now and then, we'll be working to acquire permits and finalize our project design. If you are interested in receiving progress updates about the project, please be sure to sign up for email updates or text alerts. You can also reach out to me at any time with questions. My contact information is shown here. And for questions for the City of Redmond, or to become a party of record for the city's permitting process, please reach out to Scott Reynolds or Kathy Beam. And with that, I would like to invite everyone to take a 5-minute break. After the break, we will return for a live question and answer session with county and city staff.
Thank you, Kelly. 5 minutes from now, it will be 6:20, 6:21 or so, and we'll start again. All right, welcome back, everyone. So we are going to transition into our Q&A session. This next slide shows a list of the King County and City of Redmond staff who are part of our team and our Q&A panel tonight. They will help to address your questions and comments. And now we'll start the Q&A session. Looks like we have received a few questions and comments so far. Please continue to write into the Q&A tool at the bottom center of your screen. And then if you're on the phone, you can dial 3 to raise your hand and let us know that you have a question that you'd like to share.
Lauren, it's actually to dial *9.
Oh, excuse me. *9 to raise your hand. And then we will unmute you. All right, so with that, Haley, do you want to address the questions that we've received?
Yes, I do. Hello, everyone. My name is Haley Nolan, and I am on the Community Relations team. We've received some great questions so far, and please continue to add your additional questions as we move through this question and answer section. So we're going to start with a question about design. So where exactly is the shared use path going to start and stop? And I think from the King County team, Danny is going to be able to provide an answer.
Haley. So my name is Danny Applegate. I'm with our design team. I'm actually the design engineer on the project. So where exactly is the shared use path going to start and stop? So what we're envisioning is the shared use path would start, and I'm working from south, moving our way towards the north, starting roughly right at the Marymore Park entrance or Marymore Way, and moving northbound and going just underneath SR 520. Just north of 520, there is a median opening. That is where we anticipate that the shared use path would terminate, would be at the median opening, just north of 520. So that leaves that small section of existing sidewalk between Leary Way and that median opening that we would anticipate would be where we would have pedestrians go back onto the sidewalk and the cyclists being into the bike lane. And we would ask for the cyclists that were running southbound to walk onto the existing sidewalk in that location.
Thanks so much, Danny. And thanks, Brian, for the question. We've got another one. Are you going to take out the Five Sisters Western red cedars just north of the connector bridge? It has taken a long time for them to grow to their current maturity. Planting new trees could scarcely replace them. And Lisa or Danny, if you want to answer that question, please.
Lisa, do you want to take a first stab at that?
Sure. So I will need to check our tree preservation plan. So if you could give me a moment, I'd need to pull that up really quick. But Danny, I'm Lisa Danielski. I'm on the environmental team with the county, and we've been working diligently to avoid and minimize tree removal, particularly for the landmark trees along this corridor. But I'd appreciate if you could give me a moment to look at the status.
Sure, let's come back to that one. That's all right. Here is another construction question from Richie. So what will the noise level be like during construction for people who live near the pipe route? Kelly, do you want to answer that, or maybe Eric?
Sure. I'll start it off, but then hopefully Eric can chime in as well. So, noise level really varies depending on what kind of construction equipment is being used. That said, there's some pretty big equipment that we'll be using. Things like excavators, large truck traffic, that kind of thing. The noise levels during construction are set by noise ordinances in the city of Redmond. And we will abide by those noise ordinances. Eric, is there anything that you'd like to add to that?
Thanks, Kelly. I'm Eric Williams with King County. I'm the senior inspector for the project. You'll probably be seeing me a lot out there. There's going to be different phases of the project, as Kelly mentioned, where there's going to be a lot of heavy equipment use. It's very loud and very noisy and vibrates and dusty and dirty and all kinds of fun. So it's just going to be different phases of the project where it may be more annoying than others, but we are definitely trying to do our best to get this done as soon as possible.
Thanks, Eric and Kelly.
I'm not sure if I want to make sure we give the city of Redmond a chance to add anything to that they might want to. So I'll just ping Scott Reynolds here and see if he wants to add anything.
Sure. From the city of Redmond standpoint, there's noise ordinances that have to be followed. There's exceptions for construction, but there is requirements during the weekends and off hours that the noise does have to cease. So that would be something, once we get into construction, the city of Redmond will be coordinating with King County on.
Thanks, Scott. All right, we have another construction question. If you are doing full road closures during daytime hours, how will we be able to leave our driveways? So for folks who live near that construction activity, how will they be able to access their homes and driveways? Kelly or Eric, are you able to speak to that?
This is Eric, I can speak to that. So it's pretty typical. We're going to be working in front of people's driveways when they need out of their driveway. So we'll work with the contractor to coordinate with each homeowner or business what is going on at the time we're doing it, and also accommodate and access and egress in and out of their driveway or parking lot. We can utilize steel plates and other means to give access in a moment's notice usually, but sometimes we'll actually have to have you guys or the homeowners or maybe some businesses park, maybe not in the normal spot, maybe park along the road, and we'll work with everybody and ahead of time and let everybody know what's going on as it happens, and with plenty of notice ahead of time with Kelly.
Thanks, Eric. Kelly or Scott, do you have anything to add?
I think that Eric pretty well covered it. I think the only other thing to keep in mind is that for a full road closure, if it's a moving closure, there may be times when you can only reach your driveway from one direction. So you'll be able, for example, on 180th, if there is a road closure and your driveway is off of that road, you may only be able to access your driveway northbound from 24th at certain times or southbound from Westlake Sammamish Parkway at certain times.
And from the city of Redmond standpoint, I think it's pretty much covered. The city will be working with King County as for street closures come up and ensuring that neighbors are able to get access in and out of their properties.
Thanks, everyone. We have a few tree removal questions. I know, Lisa, you're looking into one of the questions. Do you need a little bit more time on that?
Yes, please. These
Okay.
PDFs are taking a while to upload. I'm sorry. I see the next question. That one I can get back to in a moment. Thank you.
Okay, absolutely. So we've got another question. Will my sewer bill go up to pay for this project? Maybe Andrea, do you want to answer that one?
Sure, I'd be happy to. No, they will not. This project's already fully funded, so you won't see a rate increase as a direct result of the project.
Thank you. And this is about design. Will you widen the Sammamish River Trail when you restore it? Danny, are you able to answer that?
Yes, I am. So once our work is complete, we'll rebuild the trail to at least its existing width. between that Northeast 85th Street and Leary Way, we'll be partnering with King County Parks to widen the trail as part of our project restoration. The new trail in this section will be approximately 14 feet wide with a 2-foot wide gravel shoulder on the water side and about a 4-foot wide gravel shoulder on the land side. The remainder of the trail will be restored to its current width, which is roughly between 10 to 12 foot wide gravel with 2-foot wide gravel shoulders on each side.
Thanks, Danny.
Mhm.
And Scott or anyone from the city of Redmond, do you have anything to add to that response?
Yes. So from the city of Redmond, we are coordinating with King County to expand the trail where needed. A lot of the trail is actually in the shoreline jurisdiction. So code compliance and coordination is being reviewed at this time. But the ultimate goal is to continue the user experience and make it and improve it once the construction is done.
Thank you, Scott. Okay, here's a question.
Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Ready when you are.
Okay, thanks, Lisa. Yeah, if you want to start with whichever one you're ready to respond to.
So the Five Sisters Cedar question, according to the latest tree preservation plan that has been submitted, unfortunately, those are slated to be removed for several reasons. One of them is that the new pipeline is going to be constructed very close to the trees within their critical root zones. And our arborist has determined that they will not be able to be saved due to the amount of root damage that'll be done for construction. This is also a pretty difficult area for us to be constructing the new trail and making the new pipeline fit in. So yes, unfortunately, those trees will be removed for this project. Danny, I know you and the arborist and I talked about this area in length because of some of the construction constraints here. So if you have anything to add, that would be helpful.
Absolutely, Lisa. So the other issue in this area is we have the trail that goes down the Redmond Central Connector that we have to reconnect into the Sammamish River Trail. And also there's the stairwell that comes down. So in order to bring it around the manhole and to make that area handicap accessible for the connection point, that's another reason also in that area that we're having to do some grading to which are going to impact those trees as well. And it's really the location in that area is really tight, as you can imagine, as we have to kind of squeeze our pipeline between the railroad trestles. So there's not a lot of areas to move the pipeline in that vicinity.
Thank you, Lisa and Danny.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. We have a couple more tree-related questions. So currently the Sammamish Trail does not have many trees. Is it possible while restoring the Sammamish River Trail area to plant trees along that pathway?
That's a great question. Our team of landscape architects, ecologists, and arborists have taken a lot of time to see what we can do to either restore temporary impacts or also enhance the habitat along the Sammamish River in some of these areas. We do have one area proposed for more wetland and stream buffer enhancement between Redmond Way and Leary Way. We do have to make sure that we retain some sight line along the trail. So the plantings cannot go right up to the trail. Obviously, that will be difficult for maintenance for the use of the trail, but certainly with an appropriate setback, there will be a lot of enhancement where native trees and shrubs will be planted along the riverside of the trail where there currently is not much woody vegetation.
Thanks, Lisa.
And
Does
if
anyone have? Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. From the city of Redmond standpoint, when it comes to trees and tree replacements, this is a area of ongoing communication with King County and code compliance. So the city is reviewing and trying to preserve as many trees as the city understands the community really values tree preservation, but finding that balance between tree preservation and then also being able to put the project in. On the flip side is the tree replacement and mitigation. There's areas of opportunity to add additional tree replacements, especially along the banks of the Sammamish River, to help improve some of the areas. So that's an area that we are continuing to work with King County, and King County is continuing to work with us.
Thanks for adding that, Scott. And one more question related to tree removal. While working along 177th, will any trees be removed from the Idlewood Overflow Parking Lot?
I am pulling up the tree preservation plan there as well. I don't believe so. I believe we are avoiding the Idlewood parking lot. Let me just look here. Yeah, we don't have any slated for removal there.
Thanks, Lisa. Thanks for looking that up.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a question about the diameter of the pipe. What is that diameter of the pipe being installed? And is it polyethylene? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Polyethylene.
Thanks.
No problem. So the pipe size actually varies quite a bit between the northern end, which is our downstream end, which is how it's flowing, from the southern end. We range from a 54-inch on the very north end, all the way down to a 27-inch on the south end. Right now, as far as pipe materials, we're looking at two different pipe materials that could be a potential. One would be like a fiberglass type pipe, and the other one would be a PVC pipe.
Thanks, Danny.
Mm-hmm.
We have a question from Shelley. The Metro 249 bus route no longer runs. Do you plan on restoring this? It will help to give alternatives to car use during construction. Kelly, do you want to speak to that?
Sure. So our partners at King County Metro would be the best folks to answer this question. I am going to go ahead and place a contact link in the chat here. And I would just recommend reaching directly out to King County Metro. King County Wastewater Treatment Division is also part of King County, but we aren't in charge of the bus routes. So I will drop that into the chat here shortly.
Thanks, Kelly. And we still have time for a few more questions, and we do have a couple more to answer. So will I still have sewer service during construction? Kelly or Andrea, do you want to speak to that question?
Sure, I can speak to it. Yes, we intend to maintain sewer service during construction. Typically, if sometimes we will be building a new pipe in parallel to the existing sewer pipe, in which case we won't move wastewater flows over to the new pipe until it's ready. In cases where we might be replacing an existing pipe, we will use a bypass pipe on the surface to keep flows moving during construction so that you're not experiencing service disruptions. Eric, is there anything that you would add to that?
Yes, Kelly, we will never stop anybody from using their sewer service. It is something that we'll maintain at all times, no matter what. One way or another, we will accommodate it. There may be a time or two where we ask you to maybe not wash clothes or flush the toilet for 15 minutes or something, but it'll be brief if we do ask that.
Thanks for adding that, Eric. We have a question from Charlie. I've heard from King County that the city of Redmond does not plan to allow construction on 177th during the best possible weather. Has that idea been revised or rethought? Maybe Scott, do you want to answer that, or someone from King County?
So let me check in with my transportation staff real fast. So King County wants to talk about the project here.
I don't mind, this is Danny, I don't mind answering a little bit of that question, at least what our expectations are. Kelly alluded to it earlier in the meeting. One of the things that we're trying to make sure that we do not do construction in front of Idlewood Park or the overflow parking lot during the summer months. We know how that's a high traffic area. So that does mean that the area, especially on the southern end of 177th, south of the overflow parking lot, would likely be done outside of the summer months. But other than that, that's the only requirement that we have. So it doesn't have anything to do with good weather or bad weather. It's about primarily the making sure that we maintain access to Idlewood Park during the busy peak summer months. And that has been discussed with the city. Obviously, that's still pending city approval, but that's something that we have put as a requirement.
And the city of Redmond concurs with what Danny stated. There's different parts of this project have restrictions with it, 177th being one of them.
Great, thank you both. Just a comment from Charlie. Preference given to residents of other jurisdictions over those of us in the neighborhood. Feels like you're treating us as second-class citizens. Does anyone want to speak to this comment? Or Charlie, do you want to add anything about the comment that you left? We're also happy to talk more offline if that would be better for you.
Can anyone on the team speak to what potential other jurisdictions Charlie could be referring to? There might be some confusion, Charlie, about the permitting agencies that we're required to collaborate with on this project. Of course, we can't just do this project without City of Redmond and WashDOT approval. So we do have to collaborate with them on this project. What other residents of other jurisdictions are you referring to? We'd love to clear up any misunderstanding if possible.
And this is Kelly. I can step in, and I just want to add that this is a big project, and there are a lot of interests along this project. And as Scott Reynolds alluded to, there are some places where we have more restrictions than others, and so the sequencing of this work in order to get, we want to get it done as safely as possible. And we also want to get in and out as quickly as we can. And so the more restrictions that we place on a project, the harder that becomes. If we were to try to do the whole project in kind of the drier months, it would take quite a bit longer. And so in this case, we've heard from the city of Redmond and also from folks in the community that access to this park is very important, particularly in those summer months. And that's what's driving this decision.
Kelly, it looks like Charlie might be referring to buses coming from other jurisdictions, from Issaquah, Bellevue, Kirkland, that are parked in the overflow lot. Do you know what that could be about?
I'm not sure. I would just, if the city of Redmond has comment on that, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I can. Scott Reynolds from the city of Redmond. I can chime in, and Kathy Beam may follow up here too as well. So, in regards to overflow parking, one of the concerns with this project is making sure Idlewood Park still stays open and is a community asset for the city of Redmond or whoever are the users of the park. So one of the conditions or kind of items that we're looking at is how does this construction impact those users and the usability of the park. So it's not necessarily valuing any one community over the other, it's more just valuing the community asset. And again, if there's further clarity, also happy to follow up and with Charlie and answer any other questions. Kathy, would you like to add anything?
I don't have anything further to add. Thanks.
Thanks, everyone, and thanks, Charlie, for that question and comment. We just got another question from Doreen. You referenced this project is to be undertaken in several phases. This suggests there be multiple construction locations. Can you clarify how many sites can be expected?
I can start this response here. Yeah, so while we don't expect the entire 4.5 mile sewer alignment to be under construction all at one time, there could certainly be multiple crews working along the sewer pipe at different locations. When we hire a contractor in 2023, they'll be providing to us a schedule of when they expect to complete the work. And at that point, we'll have a better idea of when each section of the project will be completed and the sequencing of that work. So at this point, we can't really provide an estimate of how many specific sites we'd be working on at any one given time. But once we hire a contractor in 2023, we will be able to provide that information, and we will certainly be holding more community meetings and reaching out to share that information with you. So hopefully that helps.
Thanks, Kelly. Does anyone from the City of Redmond team have anything to add to that?
Not at this time. It was covered well.
Great, thanks so much. We have time for about one more question. If there's anything you've been thinking about, we'd love to take some time to answer you. We do have one question about coordinating with other construction projects. Are you coordinating with other construction projects in the area?
I'm happy to take that one.
Thanks, Andrea.
So yes, we are coordinating with Sound Transit, Microsoft, and other local jurisdictions to anticipate any potential overlaps in planned construction projects. While sometimes those overlaps are unavoidable, we are going to coordinate closely with those organizations to determine if there are ways to reduce further impacts for the city of Redmond. So much of this coordination will happen through conversations with the city of Redmond, who is going to be permitting all of this construction work that we'll be doing. Scott, would you like to add anything else to that?
Yes, I would. So from the city of Redmond standpoint, I've been coordinating with both Sound Transit and the Microsoft project managers. And as this project has been developing, we're taking a keen eye on making sure that haul routes and coordination for road closures are going to be coordinated to ensure that as a neighborhood that community members are not locked in. So there's active and ongoing coordination with projects, and then for the larger ones, then even the smaller ones, there's that internal coordination between staff and projects.
And thanks, Scott. Anything else to add to that one?
This is Kelly. I will just add one additional detail, which is that we are also working to coordinate where we can from a communication standpoint with those other projects, whether it be with Microsoft or with Sound Transit. And also we want to work closely with the city of Redmond's communication staff to make sure that you're getting the information you need when you need it so that you can plan ahead in construction.
Thanks so much. Got a couple more questions. We're going to try to squeeze in Doreen's question. Redmond has indicated one Idlewood parking area is to remain open when construction is underway. Does this exclude the summer months?
This is Danny. To clarify this, both the Idlewood parking lot, the main Idlewood parking lot, and the overflow parking lot would be open during the summer months. And during the rest of the time when we're doing construction, at least one of the parking lots would be open at all times. So we'd have at least, just to be clear, there'd be at least one parking lot open. So I don't know if you have anything to add just from the city's point of view on that.
Yeah, from the city's point of view, this is what we're proceeding forward with as well. At this time, kind of from the process standpoint, we're just in the entitlement phase. Once we get into the post-entitlement review, that's where really the coordination is going to come down between the city and King County in regards to what closures are, how the access points are going to be maintained. And so that detail is going to be further reviewed as this project continues.
Great. Thank you, Scott and Danny. And then our last question for the evening, thank you all still for being here and tuning in. So regarding construction noise, Shelley's hoping for an exact allowed decibel amount if we have that information. So you can prepare for what that kind of noise level might be during the daytime. Danny or Eric, do y'all know that information?
This is Danny. I don't know that right offhand. I know that we are during the working day when we're out there, we do have to meet City of Redmond noise level requirements. I don't remember what that decibel level is right off the top of my head, but I can find out. But that is something that we will be required to meet. So I know that probably doesn't answer your question, Eric. I don't know if you have any additional information to add.
Thanks, Danny. I don't know the decibel limits during work hours. Off hours, I'm more familiar with, but not usually during work hours. So I'll have to refer to maybe City of Redmond.
So this is Scott with City of Redmond. I'm trying to pull up the code here right now. The noise levels come from the state of what the maximum levels are, and that they're adopted into our code as part of that. What we can do is we can follow up on kind of the noise levels. And again, if you would, I don't know the person who made the comment, if they would like to reach out to me personally, I can follow back up and get that specific numbers to you individually. And then we also can make sure that information is communicated out following this meeting as well.
Thanks so much, Scott, and thanks for the question, Shelley. We know we have about 1 minute left, so we want to transition to closing out. Thank you all so much for those questions. I'm going to hand it back over to Lauren and Kelly. Thank you all.
Thank you, Haley. Thanks for all of those questions and comments. Thank you for joining us this evening. Kelly, I will have you close us here, if you would.
Sure. Well, I just want to take a moment as we wrap up here to thank each and every one of you for your time this evening, as well as our partners at the City of Redmond for joining us tonight. We hope the meeting was helpful in answering any questions you might have about the project. When you sign off, a comment form will open in your web browser. Please do fill that out if you have additional questions or comments for the county or city. In addition, we always encourage you to reach out to us at any time if you've got questions or feedback. As a reminder, we will post a recording of this meeting to our website in the weeks ahead so that it can be shared with those who couldn't attend. So thank you again for your time, and we hope you have a great evening.